Welcome to Come On You Spurs TV. Tottenham 3, Burnley nil. Should we be excited? Or it's just the start of the season? Let's get too excited and let's hold our horses for a moment and and hope that things get better as we go along. What do you reckon, Chuma?
Too late to hold our horses. Thomas the Frank engine. Steam is on.
Choo
Choo
choo.
choo choo. We're off.
Yeah, so thank you. If you're here for the first time, Chuma, tell them please what to do. Me, I'm not good at this sort of thing.
Well, welcome to Come On You Spurs TV. We are now the premier podcast where you can only hear good things about Thomas Frank and Tottenham Hotspur, the Afrobeat section of the Lily White Nation. I'm glad to have you here. If this is your first time watching or your return viewer and you haven't yet subscribed, why haven't you? Subscribe, click on the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop new content or anything to do with our community. Like the video for the algorithm so we keep popping up. Comment, we would like to hear what you think. Tottenham, what do you think about this season? What do you think about quote unquote season 3? Thomas the Frank engine, Mohammed Kudus, our new star boy, Richarlison back on form, the new R9. All these things and more, let us know. And as always, it's Come On Ye Spurs.
Come on, ye Spurs, indeed. Yes, I mean, opening day of the 2025-26 season, season three. I mean, Ange said, the main character could possibly get killed, and he got killed being the main character last season. Now, listen, new manager, second match thus far. I, I mean, from my perspective, I mean, what I've seen so far, you have to give Mr. Frank his kudos. I mean, I think we played really well the first two matches we've had. He's had change of tactics, he's moved him around, and we haven't had any drop in form. Okay, fine. I mean, if you think about it, PSG are like one of the top clubs in the world, Champions League winners, and we made them look very very tiny for long parts of that match. How we came away losing that match is still one of those really how do I put this now? Unbelievable things that happen in a football match. It just tells you how football can be cruel sometimes. But we saw the seeds of a good tactician. How he made changes, or rather how he kind of brought the team out. I mean, if you're going to make any criticism at all, it's probably the fact that we lost. I mean, in the last 5, 10 minutes, of the match. And for many parts of the match, a lot of people went to bed thinking that we had won that match. My dad called me the following day and said to me, I thought you guys had won. I woke up and saw that you guys didn't win. How did you manage to lose that? So the same question I asked myself as well, and considering my dad is an Arsenal fan, I had an Arsenal fan. So him calling me to say that he thought we'd won was, yeah, he wasn't making fun. He was actually really surprised. Yeah, I mean, you've seen us so far. I mean, you have thoughts on that. I'm sure you're going to share it with everyone. But tell me.
I found the preseason. I enjoyed the preseason, even the loss against Bayern Munich. So I look at the preseason as it was a chance to look at what he had for Thomas Frank to assess what he had in terms of players, in terms of playing style. We played our first game against Reading, and I saw elements of Roberto De Zerbi's Brighton in the way he built up. He has his fullbacks not inverting, not like Ange inverting into midfield. They stay in line. There were loads of good things in the Reading game. Then we moved on to play a double header against um, Wickham and Luton, where he split the squad into two, played quite a few youngsters in both games. And same thing, he was building up fitness levels and seeing who would stand up to the test. And to be honest, in the common denominator in all those games, even to now, has been Mohammed Kudus. Kudus has been exceptional. He's the one person you're looking to get the ball to create some kind of excitement, but everyone has played rather well. And then we went on, of course, on the Asian tour, and then we played Arsenal. Very solid game, which we won. Arsenal didn't really trouble us that much. Preseason, of course. And then we played Bayern Munich. And there are loads of reasons I think we lost to Bayern Munich in such a heavy way. I don't think the preparation was up to par. and then traveling the distance, and also the fact that the whole Son thing, and Son had left and everything else. I felt a lot of factors played their part in us losing 4-0. Even though Bayern Munich played very, very well indeed, you can't take that away from them. So I think everyone was on a kind of downer leading to the PSG game. They felt that PSG were going to wipe the floor with us. The general consensus was that we were going to get hammered by PSG. And even though PSG had just started, they had not really played much of a preseason because they played in the Club World Cup. But, contrary to popular opinion, we went into the game and, we took the game to PSG. We were fitter than them. And Thomas Frank went against the grain. He'd been playing 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3 the entire preseason, and he played a 3-5-2 or 5-3-2, however you want to dice it. But he had three men at the back, which PSG had not considered, or Luis Enrique had not contemplated that we would have this kind of switch, and it worked so well. Richarlison, Kudus, and Palhinha in particular, where these guys ran miles. Bentancur as well. We contained them. We broke when we had to break. Two men up front caused them so much problems, and we went 2-0 in lead from set pieces, something that we can't say that Spurs have done in the last 2 years with And. We were not really a set piece kind of club, but set pieces, we discovered the long throw by Danso as well. There were loads of things that came into play, and like your dad said, we were leading 2-0. I literally left the game at 2-0 as well, and then I was just looking at, I wasn't watching the game, but I was following the commentary on like BBC, and then I saw 2-1. I was like, oh, you're not a Spurs fan unless you were wishing for a third goal, so we would be completely in the clear. All Spurs fans that watched that game, and you know who you are, we all said it, 2-0 isn't enough. If these guys score one, they're getting back in this game. And when they scored that one, I said, oh, here we go again. And of course, he'd taken off Richarlison, Kudus, and Palhinha. So it was no surprise. These are the three people that held the ball up, tackled the ball, got us back possession. And it was a valiant try. We lost on penalties as well. And so you can't really throw a lot into that. But I thought, for the first time, I think I went on Spurs Twitter, Spurs X, and I saw a lot of people that were very confident about things. They were like, look, yeah, we lost, but for 80 minutes we played so well. This guy has an adaptive identity where we can switch from one thing to another. We're not just a fixed side. There's lots of positive shoots for encouragement, and I've never heard that among Spurs fans after a loss like that. I've never seen that before, and majority of them were really impressed. And you
Yeah,
fast forward to the Burnley match, and Burnley, we went back to 4-3-3, but then of course you and I spoke off air about it. They looked at the midfield, and it was Pape Mate Sarr, Archie Gray, and Lucas Bergvall, and of course the same moans of discontent came out, but lo and behold, Spurs walked away with a 3-0.
yeah. I thought I liked the fact that, I mean, because I didn't watch the game live. I only watched it on Spurs Play afterwards, right? But while the game was going on, I mean, following the chats on the Spurs group that we both belong to, and I just couldn't believe how much slating, I mean, Bergvall and Achike were getting on how they were playing the match. And I watched the match and I thought, hang on, what was that about? Because for me, I thought they actually played a blinder. They played really, really well. Bergvall was fantastic. Sarr was immense, And Gray just did what he had to do. He wasn't he wasn't flashy. He was just effective. And they gave a really, really good account of themselves. They actually bossed that midfield, I didn't see Burnley bossing that midfield. They had it in total control. And I love the way that we always very play as well, which is go direct sometimes, and not necessarily play out from the back all the time. And please, we just talk about me, because that man just gives you joy watching football. It's like you want to go and watch him. It's like, I mean, we were talking off air about how back in the day when we were younger, and folks, especially playing street football, you weren't interested in the goals, you were interested in the skills, the skills that people were displaying. And Mohammed Kudus had that in, and he just wasn't using the skills just to sort of dazzle. He was actually using it effectively, And what I found even much more incredible, if you want to call it that, is the fact that both goals came. Two of the goals came from him, from his assists, right? And they came from his weaker foot, And I mean, you can give me a Mohammed
No, no.
Kudus lecture.
I mean, look, Kudus to me is last season. I think like West Ham fans kept saying, "Oh yeah, we've got a better deal getting that money off you guys for him. Watch how he'll be rubbish for you." A lot of them really downed him, and I look at it more like they're angry that they lost him, not necessarily that he's a bad player or he's a poor player. He's been a very, very good player, right from when he was in Norway to Ajax. Very surprised no one else got him before West Ham. West Ham got him. West Ham paid the money. West Ham got him. His first season was spectacular for West Ham. Unfortunately, West Ham have the unfortunate situation whereby their coaches they've gotten some good coaches, but their philosophies never really translate to West Ham. Um, Sometimes there's no support in terms of the kind of players they want. So last season, Kudus was doing a bit of everything. He played left wing, he played number 10, he played as a false nine. But in actuality, he's more a right winger that cuts into the middle and he can play 10 sometimes. So Thomas Frank has just given him a license to do what he wants to do. And, if you want to make any kind of distinction between him and Kulusevski, who plays the same wing, is I think he's much better with his right foot than Kulusevski is. There are certain crosses he made that Kulusevski would not have made. Kulusevski, I feel, would have wanted to keep going back to his left, and it becomes a bit more predictable. He has a bit more flair than Kulusevski, but Kulusevski, I think, has a bit more physical stamina in terms of running. But then another thing that's so amazing is the comparison between Kudus and our dear Musa Dembele. There's a way he puts his body in between the ball and the defender. You can't shake him. You'd have to foul him. And he just glides. He just takes that ball in between both of you. You can have two guys coming at him and he'll put himself between that. You're not getting that ball. And I look at them like, this is what you want. I go back to someone we bought that we thought was going to be like this, and that was Tanguy Ndombele. We wanted Ndombele to be what Kudus is giving us now, and this is just a couple of games in, but you can already see it. You can see it already. You don't need anyone to tell you that this guy is a gifted player. This guy has always wanted to step up. Now he's gotten the more or less the audience he wants in terms of he's playing Champions League football. He's playing for one of the top clubs in the country, bigger stage in London than where he was at before. And it's a club that we're built on loving flair players. Glenn Hoddle, David Ginola,
You
Gascoigne.
know,
We love a flair guy. If nothing else, Spurs love a guy who is more or less, we call him box office. We just love box office players. And no greater stage than Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for someone like him. And so he was, and like you said, it wasn't just like showboating. Like he had that little move where he stopped the ball with his left foot ahead. That was not just showboating. He was effective.
yeah.
He was also looking to score. There was a chance that I think at the end where Jed Spence got in, and if Jed Spence had laid it, he would have scored.
Yeah, that's cool,
Jed
exactly.
Spence went for goal because it's Jed Spence.
Yeah. But that
You know?
tells you his keen eye, eye for position and being in the right spot as well.
Yeah.
Because even though it was meant to be on the play on the right, he came in, just to be in that position to take that opportunity if it came across. Now we've talked about Thomas Frank's ability to adapt and change stuff, which we've seen already in the 2 games that he's been in charge. And obviously brought on Bentancur and Palhinha later on in the game, obviously to give the guys a bit of a rest, with a view to obviously the next match. I mean, where we are now, I mean, there's a lot of positives that's gone on so far this season. I mean, this last couple of weeks. Mr. Romero signed a new contract. Jet Spence signed a new contract. So things are looking up from at least a squad stability perspective. And of course, I mean, all of the rumors about Romero leaving, and all of that seem to have been quashed. But then again, it also means potentially that it's an opportunity for us to get plenty of money for him should he decide to go early next season. So yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I'm really pleased. Jet Spence, I think, has earned his extension. It's not like they just gave it to him. He's earned his extension. Christian Romero, I put it down like, if you really love my club, you sign a contract so you can leave. It's better than him leaving on a free after more or less we discovered him. We'll say we discovered him. We got him into the biggest stage, the League of Gladiators. Hello, Hag, HAG, the League of Gladiators. And he's performed very, very well. So I think if it's a parting gift to Spurs, it's the fact that he signed this contract. Everyone knows that Real Madrid are looking at him now. Xabi Alonso, it's been rumored that Xabi Alonso has looked at him as the project for 2026. Well, they have to come with a busload of money for us in order but Spurs are thinking ahead. You're looking at Vuskovic, you're looking at Danso, you're looking at Takai as well. You're looking at these three central defenders that Spurs have gotten as well that can complement and that can possibly make up for him as well. So it's Spurs are looking ahead. He signed the deal. I heard they're also making moves for Bentancur as well. So it's squad stability. It's senior leadership as well. He's now the club captain of Spurs and he's leading by example. So brighter days ahead. We're in a deal for Eberechi Eze, who I think will. I mean, they're just these players that when they're linked to Spurs, you can see why he's someone that would fit Spurs. In fact, we were linked to him when he was at QPR. David Pleat mentioned him to the board then, and then I remember I was like, yeah, I love this guy. I wish he would play for Spurs. And fast forward, it's hopefully going to be a possibility. But you and I spoke of it as well. Even if he doesn't arrive, I just don't know. There's something about the way Thomas Frank has adapted himself to Spurs and he's taking a good look at players and he's encouraging players. He's making certain players play. We're looking at Richarlison. We're saying, is this a redemption arc for Richarlison? Because there's a certain way Thomas Frank loves his strikers and the way he makes them play. Has Richarlison bought in? And is he really going to enjoy it? Is he going to be, I'm putting him down. I actually said to someone at work, Richarlison scoring 15 goals this season. And that's 15 league goals if he plays, and it's injury free. I think injury has always been a problem for him. But brighter days for Spurs, like you said, contract signed. We're looking at getting 2 or 3 more players in before the window closes, and Thomas Frank is on the ball at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, we hope that those speculations about new additions to the squad come to fruition, as in terms of players actually arrive in there. I mean, obviously there are two players who people seem to, at least they've been reported in the mainstream media as Spurs been interested. And when those things are reported in the mainstream media, it has a level of credence to them as opposed to stop being bandied about in the ITK press, if you're going to call it that. But yeah, I mean, we good results, good outcome. Well done, guys. Up next is Manchester City, and
City.
obviously we normally do well over there, so I'm not. Should I be worried? No, we've got Thomas Frank in the house. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.